But nothing is more exciting than hearing from HITLAB's own Lizzie Chadbourne as we get ready to talk to someone who is a couple of folks who are making big strides in women's health tech and certainly mental health as well, with two of the leading CEOs in that space, both Colette and Jeanne from Joylux and Mighty, and handing the virtual podium over to Lizzie. Lizzie, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much, Stan, for that introduction. Yes, I'd like to quickly begin by introducing our panelists. Colette Courtion is the founder and CEO of Joylux, and Jeanne Chung is a strategic program lead at Digital Medicine Society and the founder of Mighty Menopause. Would you please both just briefly introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about your work? Jeanne, why don't you start off?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, I'm Jeanne Chung. Thank you for inviting me. It's really exciting to be here. I am the founder of and CEO of Mighty Menopause. I founded Mighty because of my own experience with perimenopause and the failure of the medical establishment to meet my needs, which is a very common story for many women founders in the healthcare space. Mighty exists, our mission is to modernize menopause to help women through menopause and to help them thrive as they age. So our view on menopause is a transition to the rest of her life.
Hi, everyone. I'm Colette Courtion, CEO and founder of Joylux. And much like Janine, I started Joylux out of my own personal frustrations of the medical system and what women go through when they go through these major life milestones. So Joylux, much like Mighty Menopause, is a menopausal platform that provides life-changing medical devices that we've created, along with digital tools and products and information to really help women better manage the whole transition of menopause. So we are just delighted to be here and talk about something that's so near and dear to both of us.
Thank you so much both for taking the time to be here today. And, you both touched on menopause, and it's really recently received much overdue attention in digital innovation and health tech spaces more generally. I think it would be helpful to start out by defining what menopause is. Jeanne, would you mind kind of talking us through that definition and explaining why it's so important to support women's health specifically during this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think terminology is key, and particularly as we know, menopause is getting more and more attention. We're all grateful for that. So I start definitionally. Menopause is when women are no longer menstruating, and the medical framing for that is 12 months without a period. So in one definition of menopause, it is a point in time. So the day you mark 12 months without a period, a woman marks 12 months without a period. Menopause is also similar to puberty, a physiological status. So you go through puberty, you end up as an adult. Women go through menopause, they're out of their reproductive window. So it's a description of physiological state. It also used in most commonly as we think about innovation, we think about women's experiences, that menopause is a transition. So the menopause transition, the menopause journey, when one woman's body is moving from one hormonal profile to the next. And this is where really the most compelling opportunity is for innovation and conversation, as women are figuring out what it is because we're undereducated, and we have this opportunity to meet their needs with tech innovation.
That's really helpful. Colette, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think that people think when they hear the word menopause that it just means old. In fact, it isn't. Most women start this transition pretty early. It could be in their late 30s, early 40s, and that's what we often refer to as perimenopause. But that's where you experience most of these really life-changing type, or life-altering, I should say, symptoms that really can wreak havoc on your lives. So it's kind of perimenopause, then we hit menopause, and it never goes away, but how we deal with it is how it impacts our quality of life. And that's what technology and all these wonderful, great startups are doing, is really trying to help improve a woman's quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting there, really kind of where are we now? Where is digital health kind of focusing its efforts in supporting women through menopause in the present moment?
Yeah, great question. So I'll start here, and Jeanne and I talked about this before we went on this panel. Is that we very much feel like we are in what we call menopause version 1.0, because we are just now really starting to use technology to have an impact on menopause. So I first want to talk about the mental side of it, because I know that's also something that we're covering off in this panel today. See, the transition of menopause can be very emotional for women as our bodies are going through these changes and we're losing estrogen. Most often, women are not prepared for these changes. And because of that, they can often feel isolated, alone. It can lead to depression because they don't know what's going on with their body. This is where it can lead to really mental health issues with women because of that, isolation, that depression. So what's happening today is technology, and especially on the digital side, is really helping facilitate the sharing of information about what is menopause and how does it impact your health. Up until I would say, 5 years ago, it was truly a taboo subject, and we as women didn't talk about it. In fact, we didn't even talk about it with our doctors because our doctors are sadly pretty ill prepared for the conversation. Most don't even receive a lot of formal training in the category of menopause. And unfortunately, they just don't even have enough time in a patient visit to sit down and really understand what she's going through because of all these different symptoms. There's something like 34 menopause symptoms. So technology, what we're seeing is there is this growing number of communities on social platforms, on websites that are allowing women to connect and share their experiences on what they're going through. So that's really helping on the mental health side. Women are feeling, hey, I'm not alone. I have someone else to share in this journey with. So that's a huge benefit of the digital side and how technology is helping women. But what we're also seeing, because there's this general awareness now of the category, we're seeing a lot of great innovations and technologies coming to market where we didn't have them before. Before it was, drugs, hormone replacement therapy. Now we're seeing devices like, the device that Joylux has created. There's devices for hot flashes. There's just this wonderful growing body of using technology to now have a positive impact on these symptoms. And then, we're seeing companies that are focusing, like telehealth companies that are focusing just on menopause. So women really have a medical resource that they can connect with online. So there's a lot of great things happening around the merge, technology and menopause, but it's still very much in the nascent stages. So menopause version 1.0.
Absolutely. Thank you for that insight. Looking forward, kind of where do we see things moving as we see the role of digital tech and menopause kind of shifting and moving past that version 1.0? Jeanne, do you want to start out with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would add to Colette, thank you for mentioning telehealth access to menopause specialists. It's really important and a very, very contemporary, given the pandemic, use of technology. I'll just throw down a statistic. So in the US, the per 10,000 capita number of physicians to humans is around 30. It's like 28. I just use 30. The ratio for OBGYNs per 10,000 women is 3. So this is crazy. So access, utilizing telehealth access for specialty care is very important in this particular case. I like to think there's like this intermediate step where Mighty is playing right now is around symptom tracking and understanding individual experience. Mighty has a symptom tracker customizable for women while they use our supplement, and it allows them to see in a month snapshot the trend line of their symptom. And just that information in and of itself, which is quite simple, right, is really revolutionary for women to say, oh, wow, this is what happened to me this month. And I look at it with Mighty as the foundational platform for data. Well, I look at from moving from V1 menopause to V2, it's all about data. Colette had mentioned that she'd been with her product, that you've been doing starting to do some analytics around what women are experiencing. And I think that is the kind of the opening to where we can go. I'll point out that, women's health, we're really kind of overweighted towards fertility, and as it should be, it's a very beautiful thing to want to become a mother and raise a family. And in that health concern, we're looking for patterns, ovulation patterns. When are you ovulating? When is your next period? In perimenopause and the transition period, getting to postmenopause, we're not so interested in patterns. It's very irregular, but we're very interested in the delta. So an individual delta, like what do I know of myself as it changes over time, is really important. Therefore, tools need to be different. Then how do I compare to other women my age or my ethnicity or my weight range? What can we understand there? That's what I'm super excited about in terms of data and menopause.
And just to piggyback on that, because that's exactly where we're going to with our company. And so it's nice to see that we're aligned in terms of what the vision should be. So we're both collecting all this awesome, robust data on women and what they're going through with their menopause symptoms. We're tracking them. But where it gets exciting for both us as a company and the patient or the consumer is that data becomes actionable. We can use data scientists, machine learning to really have a deeper understanding of what attributes the women have and what triggers certain symptoms. So the goal is we can start to get predictive of what a woman may experience. So we know if you're starting here and you're 43 and you may have certain lifestyle attributes or health attributes, we can say, with time, you are more likely to experience hot flashes. And this is the information that's most relevant to you, but also the treatment plans that we think are going to be best suited for you to drive a better health outcome. So really using this data to drive, again, better health for women is the future of menopause. Version 2.0 or 3.0, that's where we're all headed.
That's wonderful. It's so exciting, honestly, to see where this is going and to hear about how Mighty Menopause and Joylux are kind of implementing these new approaches, these analytical, data-based approaches to actually influencing and benefiting people's actual health experiences and not just helping them through a difficult time emotionally, but actually helping them with their physical symptoms as well. I believe we have time for one more question. I think we have 2 minutes left. So just quickly, I would love to hear about some of the challenges that the market is facing in the present moment and going forward.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of great innovation and startups in the fertility space and the younger, reproductive age. I think menopause, we're seeing how big of an opportunity this is. It's every woman who has is fortunate enough to live will experience menopause. So it will impact, a huge, large portion of our population. So I think investors are starting to take notice, but that's where we need to start. We need investors to embrace this category, see that this can and will be, this massive, there's numbers like $600 billion market. So we need investors to step up and fund the entrepreneurs that are innovating in this space. So we're getting there. We see more and more of that happening.
Absolutely. Jeanne, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, first I agree, more funding, please. And the other is what Colette mentioned in the beginning. We hear menopause, we think like, oh, uninteresting or irrelevant, a bunch of old ladies, like it. However, I really want to urge tech innovators and people who have really deep skills in data, in tech innovation, to think about menopause as a place to apply that. I think menopause has all the facets of innovation that we can then also apply to the rest of women's health. So dig in deep here, help us make some cool stuff and change women's health for everyone.
That's a wonderful note to end on. Thank you so much, both of you, for your time and taking the opportunity to have such an enlightening and dynamic conversation. We really, really appreciate it. And yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate being here.
Awesome. So I'll pass it back to Stan.
And thank you, Lizzie, for a wonderful moderated panel on such an important topic. Thank you for that.